Welcome to LaQuita's Toolbox, where we deliver relevant content in the form of tools that empower entrepreneurs to elevate personally and professionally. Good is only good until greater is envisioned. You know there's another level in you. Here we discuss the tools to get you there. Lean in as LaQuita and her guests present you with strategies and insight for unlocking your full potential to realize your boldest dream.
Hey, how you doing, LinkedIn? Thank you guys so much for joining us. It is another amazing episode of LaQuita's Toolbox Live. I am your host, LaQuita Mondley, and I am very excited to be with you guys again on today. I see we have a few people that are still coming in the room. I want to thank you so much and give a moment for everyone to join us across the various social media platforms. We have people I see coming in from YouTube. Thank you guys for coming in. Twitter, Twitch, LinkedIn, and of course, Facebook. Thank you guys for coming in. Today, we have an amazing treat in store for you. But before we jump in and start talking to Enrique, let me take a moment to thank our sponsors of today's episode of LaQuita's Toolbox Live, and they are Covenant Press. Covenant Press is a faith-based Christian apparel and accessory shop where we as believers can shop for clothing and accessories that allow us to wear the message of the love of Jesus Christ. Check them out at www.covenant-press.com. Again, that's www.covenant-press.com. Take your time and browse through and look at all the wonderful selections that they have, but don't pop up with those pop-ups too quickly because Covenant Press always provides amazing discounts and savings. So you want to grab that code that you find in those pop-ups, place it in the appropriate section at the checkout to receive your discounts and savings. Again, that's www.covenant-press.com. Listen, Enrique, it is 11:30.
Hey.
11:33. It's 11:33 on Thursday. It's LaQuita's Toolbox Live. And I've been excited about this conversation since we had our IG live. Was that last week?
Mm-hmm.
Listen, guys, I hope you got something to write with and to write on. And don't worry, this is a live. So when we finish, you have the hashtag replay. Go back and back that thing up a little bit because you don't want to miss these gems. If you missed the IG last week, we got you today because Enrique was releasing some fire on last week. Thank you for joining us from Atlanta, Jonathan. We thank you so much for being here. Miss Adina, thank you for coming in from the Dallas area. Had a great time with you this past weekend. We're looking forward to it. So let me take a moment, Enrique, please, for the few people out there that might not know who you are.
Yeah. Thank you, LaQuita. This has been quite of an experience since our last meet. I'm Enrique Acosta Gonzalez. Best to say just a servant leader in whatever capacity the Lord would have me to be in. And that's my aim. My aim is to be not only of service, but enrichment. But I'm a leadership development coach, sort of in the same lines and frame of view, John Maxwell trained and certified, and just loving life and enjoying this journey.
Amen. Thank you again for being here. I know you even last week, like you talking about keep pushing. So transparency, people. We've been talking. Enrique had been on this show, and it never registered to me that he lived in Florida, and so we were getting ready for the live, and he mentioned it, and I was like, "Oh my God, wait a minute! I didn't realize that." But despite all of that, we had a great time on IG Live on Thursday in the midst of a very bad storm. So thank you again. And it just goes to show that's one of the things we're going to bring up today about leadership. You are a leadership development coach, and as leaders, we make a lot of sacrifices and we push through and do the things that most people won't do in order to develop our people, in order to provide what's needed. So we have to keep that in mind. So tell me, like, you are John Maxwell certified, but I also know that, you know, there's been some time in your life where you spent a number of years, active duty Navy, and as a senior pastor of an organization. Tell us how those two roles prepared you for what you're doing today. How did they prepare you personally and professionally as a leader?
Yeah, that's a great question. Before I get in there, aloha, Dina, and Jonathan, for being with us today. How did those roles? I was military minded from high school. Right? I was in junior ROTC, and I knew I was going in the service. Thought it was the Air Force, but God had something different for me. Ended up in the Navy, did 26 years, and my leadership journey actually started there. But if I were to even go back a little, my leadership journey started at home. I am
Yeah.
the eldest of a total of about 11 kids and split between my mom and my dad. And as the oldest, there are just some things that you just got to do.
Yeah.
And that's it. Right. I remember cooking and sweeping and mopping. I was 7 years old.
Yeah.
My mom was making sure that by 8, 9, 10, I was helping her. And
Yes.
and with so many kids, you kind of you forfeit your childhood for the responsibility of caretaker, leader in a home with so many kids. But so it started there, but really didn't come in solid till I was in the service, where I was actually over people in terms of leading groups and making sure that people were mentored and things like that. The church has always been in my life since I was 10 years old. Did not see too much leadership there, for whatever reason, but I did play the drums. So I was in the choir, then did all that thing. Did Sunday school for little kids as I grew older, but leadership really didn't start till I was older in the faith and as an adult.
I love to hear you say that your leadership actually started when you were a kid, because I believe that leaders, everybody can be a leader. And if we're looking at it from the definition of influence, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, who do we have influence over? It's just a matter of, are we positively influencing them, or are we negatively influencing them? And within our homes, like, I'm the oldest of 6, right? So what everybody else was, looking to me at, what am I going to do? How are you going to set the standard, this, that, and the other? And as parents, we might not think that our children recognize that, but we recognize that at an early age because, well, you're the oldest. And
Right.
So through life, you cultivate that leadership. So I believe, people may differ. If you have a different opinion, let's get in the comments and talk about it today, because we are talking about leadership. It just depends on how well that young person is being groomed to help them develop as a leader. And you said something else that was really key as you became older in the faith, is when you began to experience more leadership roles. And of course, through your military service, right, the more rank you got, you received more leadership training. Well, let's say ideally we should receive more leadership training. I think last week you were sharing a story with me that I found that was very profound, of how you identified a young leader and how the person who was sitting in the seat was relieved that you did that, because they weren't ready. Let's talk about that a little bit, a lot of it today. In organizations such as the military and other organizations, if you stay in a position long enough and you dot the I's and you cross the T's, you get the promotion and you get to be a leader in departments and different things. Does that, because you are, great in that skill set, does that make you a great leader?
No, we are challenged with that as senior leaders to the task of having to fill positions that are vacant. Now, the benefit of a leader is that they don't have to choose right away. You don't have to choose right away. You can actually keep a position vacant for as long as you need to, as long as a person's not prepared to be in there. Now, if you have a plan to get somebody and get them ready for that position, then so be it. And you've identified somebody. But just because they're in training doesn't mean you throw them at it. So a lot of leaders don't understand the power they have to just hold on and wait. You know, hold
Yeah.
on and wait. And there is wisdom in that.
Mm.
And when you do not go with wisdom, you're headed for folly, and that's usually what senior leaders do. They foolishly put people in place just to fill the seat.
Mm.
And then once they're in place, they know good and well they don't take the time to train them.
Come on.
So so it's best to train them and hold off and wait somebody to be in there and get somebody ready and prepared, so that when they sit in the seat, they're actually capable. Right? We talked about ability and capability.
Capability. Yes, we
Right?
did.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, we did. So that patience word,
Mm-hmm.
we tend not to like that word when it has to apply to us. It's easy to tell someone that, but then exercising that as a leader or as a senior leader, exercising patience while we identify and then develop a person to sit in, say, a lower level management seat, a middle management seat, so on and so forth. How should we, as senior leaders, you've identified that our capability and our ability is different. How can we identify that in people, and what can we do to begin to properly train them to be capable?
Well, number one, you have to listen. If you're the leader that can't listen, always waiting to answer, you're not going to identify it. You have it's an ability. You have to have the ability as a leader to listen. People will tell you exactly who they are if
Yes.
you just took the time to listen.
Come on.
All right, there's just so much wisdom also in listening. The old adage is you got two and one, right? Right. You should be using one double the time. And listening is one of those, and it's almost like a gift. You have to have it to be able to understand who it is you're talking to. I'll give you this real quick story. There was a person coming in to be the chief revenue officer. And I was part of the executive suite at the time. I was executive advisor. And the CEO says, "Hey, Enrique, I don't want to hire anybody at the executive level unless they've talked to you, so that you can tell me what the deal is." So this person came in, did the interview. I was scheduled to talk to them. And then something happened that I got bumped off the schedule and never did get to talk to him. That person was hired. That person, within a matter of months, destroyed not only that office, and I'm not talking physically, destroyed destroyed the people, and it was terrible. What benefit would have been for me to be able to speak to that person and get a true assessment and give it to the CEO to make that decision? It's that critical.
Yeah, it is. It is. We can oftentimes be excellent at what we do, and so far as skill sets, we have an amazing ability, but then our capability to listen, have empathy, let's see, our capability in emotional intelligence, effective communication, and team building, and all of these things, and so many more that are part and parcel of being a great leader. We might not have any of them, or it's very little. And so when we're sitting or we are looking for people to sit in management positions, no matter what level of management it is or what level of leadership it is, they have to have a good balance of both. That's what I hear you saying.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. And when you talk about ability versus ability, so you have 2 years. You just because you had 2 years don't mean you're capable of listening, right?
Right.
You have 2 years, so you have the perceived ability. Because I could actually be deaf. I was born that way, and although I have the anatomy to be able to do so, I may not have the capability to do so. And so with leaders, hey Tisha, with leaders, it's the same. But you have to, as senior leaders, you have to be able to take the time. if you're rushing through this process, you're gonna foul it. But you have to take the time to look and sift through the whole person and be able to say, okay, this person, when I put them in a leadership position, will not only be able to hear, they'll be able to listen to their people and be an effective leader in that position.
I love it. I love it. The difference between listening and hearing.
Mm-hmm.
If I have fully functional hearing ears, I can hear you, but I am not able to listen to you. Am I able to comprehend and understand what you're saying, even if you're not saying a lot? That's a powerful tool that a leader must have. What are some of the things that you've done over the years to help leaders develop and grow in that area?
Yeah, but this one's a tough area for leaders to grow in, especially if they've been used to being heard. So leaders that are always being heard don't take the time to listen. And it gets worse as you get higher, right? Yeah, you could even talk. They could even talk to themselves, and they won't listen. They won't listen. But so how I help leaders get to the point where they can execute at this level of listening to people, being attentive to their folks and things like that. I have to separate them from the position. Once you separate somebody from a position, then you appeal to their humanity. Once you appeal to the humanity, then you start doing real work, right?
Okay.
Because everybody understands that we're frail, that we are subject to failures and faults and all these different things that plague us as humans. But once you can appeal to the humanity of the leader, you can actually make some great changes, great strides. You can actually lead them into their leadership promised land, for lack of better word. And so once I appeal to their humanity and can actually get them to admit, because there's a huge power behind admittance, right? When you admit something, you fully take it. You're like, that was me. Yeah. So when I can get them to understand and admit that they have not fully given themselves over to the listening and hearing of their people, then we start to make some great progression. And you see it almost immediately. As a matter of fact, I've had groups come back and say, "What you do with our leader?"
You said some powerful things right there. I want to take just a minute again to thank all of those that are joining us here on the live, or if you're listening to the replay, thank you so much for that as well. Please hit those like, share, and subscribe buttons. We want to get this particular episode of LaQuita's Toolbox Live out to as many people as possible. So hit those like, share, and subscribe. If this is your first time joining us on LaQuita's Toolbox, welcome. I hope that you are learning some great things on today and will come back and join us again. Go ahead and hit those notification bells so that you'll receive the notifications when we are going live every Thursday at 11:30 a.m. Central Standard Time right here in the LaQuita's Toolbox community. So you preached the whole message right there, and I told you already on offering number 3. I didn't tell you about the first 2, but now you're on offering number 3. I can't even remember how many offerings I owe you because you didn't send me your cash out last week. I don't even know how many I owe you from last week and this week, but you said some powerful stuff right there, and I want to make sure that we chew on that for a little bit before we move forward, because that appealing to someone's humanity, that's a powerful thing. Last week I was on a fireside chat and that piece kept coming up. We were talking about some of the political issues that we're currently experiencing, and the one thing that went across that conversation was our ability to see each other's humanity above whatever ideology that we have tapped into and believe in. Can we see each other as humans? And as leaders, it's absolutely important that we understand that, and that we can see our own humanity, that we are fallible, and that we own that And that's the other piece that I heard loud and clear was not only do you have to, that you have to, as a leader, be understand your humanity, but the humanity of those that serve with you and alongside you, and you're fallible, that there are areas within you that need growth, and there are areas within you that, especially in your ability to hear your people and really feel and understand where they're coming from, so that we can then begin to make more effective decisions. And that the fact that the leadership, the teams around these leaders notice that instantly, being responsible. That's one thing that when you're sitting in particular leadership positions, I don't care what level, sometimes it can get real hard to own your stuff. It can get real hard to own your stuff. Yeah.
Sometimes it's rewarded for you not to.
Come on, talk about it.
The industry organizations out there, they don't want people, right? We used to say it at home. You don't go share our dirty laundry with the neighbors and nothing like that. Everything stays here. Everything we learn starts at home.
Yeah.
Everything. And so these little kids that got told, don't be airing out dirty laundry, guess what? They're going to grow up and they're going to get into a job and they're going to say, what happens here at this company, ain't nobody need no business to have, same thing, right? We just took little kids, let them grow with the same bad habits, and we put them in organizations. So, and now they're running stuff like their mama or their daddy ran their house. And that's a shame. So one thing I've done as a leader in my house, right? Because I could care less to be a leader in the world if I can't be a leader in my house.
Come on, sir.
Don't want it. Yeah. Don't want it. Don't give me no position. Don't give me no titles if I ain't doing it in my house first.
Come on,
and
sir.
So my children, all of them, they know my faults. I speak about it. I've spoken about my failures in the past. It doesn't matter how ugly. I did it. Why can't I own it? And so I tell my kids, things I've gone through, as shameful as they may be, or as hurtful as they may be to me, because I don't want them to do the same thing.
Yeah.
I don't want the devil taking them down that road. And so I tell them so that they understand is that my position in this house is to be the representative of God to them tangibly, so that they can see what it is that God wants them to see, not for what I want them to see, right? So I need them to understand that, yes, I am the head of this household, but I am also accountable just like they are.
That's another word right there.
And if I could get them to understand that failure is going to come, but I'm giving you opportunity to learn from mine. And whether you want to do that on your own, for which, and if you want to take that step and say, I'm going to still repeat my daddy's bad habits, or I'm going to still repeat my daddy's shortfalls or comings, that's on you now.
Yes, it is.
But I'm going to equip you as the leader of this house to make as less mistakes or a few mistakes that you can, because I've already told you what the outcome looks like.
Yeah.
They'll learn. They may not, but I did my job, right? And so leaders don't take that out and do it at their job site. They just want to show the trophies and the certificates and the newsletter. I was highlighted this and the other, when we all know it didn't come that easy.
No, it didn't. You've laid down about, I'm thinking to myself right now, you've laid down about 4 key tools. You've laid down more than that, but some 4 big takeaways. Patience, right at the top. Leaders must be patient. Leaders must have the ability to not just hear, but hear and to listen. We've got to have patience. We have to be able to hear and listen to our people. We have to understand not only our humanity, but their humanity, and that we're fallible and there's always room for growth and for change. You've talked about responsibility, taking responsibility for your actions or lack thereof. And now you're talking about accountability. I'm like, I couldn't count. That's 5. I think that's 5. I think that's 5. And you said something again that was really key right there. We often look at, or in our organizations, we're praised for covering up and being able to cover it up well and keep it in-house, even though everything is done. But from the outside looking in, it looks great. And I've been a part of organizations like that, where everybody knows there are about 5 to 10, 15, 20, 30 things that are not functioning well. It needs to function better. And we know that internally. But when the key decision makers come through for the inspection or they have a conversation, and everybody is lying. Everybody is lying, but yet you're still upset that things aren't working right. And it's amazing how that behavior never changes, or I won't say never, it rarely changes. It's that type of behavior that keeps our organizations and our homes from working at their fullest potential. Why is it that you think that we continue to do or repeat these negative things, but yet still complain when things aren't working?
Well, you know, we mentioned it earlier. We're encouraged. Society encourages the whitewashing of things because it makes us feel good, right? I remember being a immediate supervisor in charge and doing, you mentioned doing inspections. And I switched how I ran those. I didn't go there looking to see what they did well. You did it well. Good on you. Now let's look at the things that you don't do well and let's focus on that. And not just for the sake of, let's look at what you don't do well. Where have I failed you that you cannot do that well? The onus of the failure was on the immediate supervisor. Not on the person executing. They only execute as much as you allow them to. And so when you switch that, then you take the blame automatically. All the stuff come out. If you're going to take the blame, well, let me tell you, that's when you get all the good stuff. And so leaders have an opportunity to help in the regard of improvement, and it actually starts with, where did I fail you? Because if you're working for me and you were not able to do something, it must have been something that I did. And whether you did or not, give them the grace to be able to say, oh, it's not on me right now. Okay, now I can actually talk about this.
Yeah.
Because that's when you make positive strides. But it's encouraged. It's rewarded. I'm sure you've seen. I have definitely seen. Even bonused. I'm like, what's this person getting a bonus for that?
Right.
Because if we don't give it, then it's gonna look like, I'm like, y'all running through money. But
I remember when some of the promotion systems changed and it became automatic with certain, I don't know if that worked like that across the board in other branches, but during the height of the conflicts on two fronts, because there was such a shortage in certain career fields, the military was just letting folk in they would normally let in, and then them folks end up in these units. And my husband would be fussing all the time that you have these soldiers who cannot walk, talk, and chew bubblegum at the same time, but we're about to make them a leader because they managed to survive the amount of time needed to sit in that seat. So he started to where the Army had mandatory once a week training, he started implementing training like every day that they had to attend, because somewhere you're going to have that personal development and professional development. If they're going to keep promoting you, you can't just not be ready for these things. And that's what I hear you saying there as well. As leaders, we have to take responsibility for the development of those that are on our team. And if they aren't developed and they aren't able to perform at their best, then we own some of that responsibility, if not all of it. Because if you're a leader and you're saying, well, I didn't know that they didn't know that, then yeah, it's all your fault, because what have you been paying attention to? Or you're saying, yes, I did realize that, but what can I do? Still, you're the leader, so that's still your fault as well. So as a leader, we have to be vigilant. I can't seem to talk today. We have to be aware of our people and take the time to get to know them. What are some things that you can advise leaders to do? Say you have a solopreneur or that's looking to bring on team members, or you have, a smaller organization that say it's, 5 to 10 people, whether they're W-2 or contractors. What can the entrepreneurs and other leaders do to set that tone in the beginning, to cultivate an atmosphere in their companies where their team members feel like they do have an open door? I can come and be honest with you because I know that you are going to take that feedback and do something positive with it. What can we do to cultivate those in the beginning instead of, starting out bad and then trying to backtrack and fix it?
I would say two things, and I'll touch them briefly: gap analysis, and I don't want to say vulnerability, but I'll say truth. Mm-hmm. Right? Be truthful. Be honest. Why I say gap analysis? We all should be doing gap analysis. All of us should be finding out what's the difference between us today and where we want to be. What's the difference? What's missing? What needs to be done? What needs to be filled? And if a leader can do that with themselves, then you can do it with somebody else. But they're just so happy to do it with somebody else that they don't take the time for themselves. But you must know that. You must know that. Let's say I get into a job and it's in mechanical. I go to a garage. I don't know. You won't find me there because that's why I pay for that. But if I were to be go and say I want to be a mechanic, there's a lot of gaps. There's a lot of things that I know, but there's a lot of gaps before you throw a car at me, right? So I'm going to say, okay, what don't I know that this mechanic shop performs? What are the things that they perform that I am not up on? And where's that gap? That way I can go back and say, look, you hired me for this. Here I'm at 85. Here I'm at 45. I'll tell you that right now. So can I get some training at this area? Well, get me up at least to get to an 85% solution where everybody's happy, at least. Or can you get me all the way up on these areas? So in order to do that, you have to know yourself. Compared to what job you are going into. The resumes usually speak to what we know. Usually that gets padded and all prettified so that you can, so that you can put me all the way up to the top because there's a system, right?
There's a system.
Right. But when you're actually truthful as a leader, you don't know it all. Don't act like you do because people know better. Yeah. You're only going to look like a fool because people are like, okay, he know about that, but look at him right there. Okay, no, don't do it. Be truthful, be honest, and then get your team together and say, you know what? These are the areas I am lacking in, and I've noticed, John, that you're a great writer. I kind of struggle with that. Why can't you just say that? Yeah, I kind of struggle with that. Can you help me get to a point where I'm able to at least match you? Because if not, I'm going to give you that job. I'm going to give you that job, and that's unfair to them.
Yeah.
Sometimes leaders pawn off their job on people who can do it, but don't give them no credit. No.
Under the guise of delegation.
Yeah, let them know. A big
Yeah.
disguise. Yeah, big disguise. But own up to it. Say, hey, Pam, you're a great orator. I kind of freeze. Can you show me some things that you use? Then all of a sudden you've just put value on your team.
Yes.
You just not only put value on your team, but now you've employed your team to teach a teacher. They're gonna feel real good, or they're gonna say, why they hired this person? Why they hired this person, right? But there are some things that you bring to the table. Make those evident as well. You know, I spoke to a team. I said, look, in the realm of leadership, I got it. You don't have to teach me much on there. But in this area, you got that. I've already identified that. And you got this. Can we spend some time together? Maybe you can help me get all up and up, like, you know, we say up all full round. You know, and that did wonders for that team. So,
you know,
gap analysis and be truthful.
Being truthful, that's a jewel all in itself. The power of saying, I don't know, when you really don't know. Being that truthful with those that are around you. I believe it raises their level of respect for you. You know, depending on that person, right? If you're truthful with that person, and as in the scenario that you've given, you're saying, okay, Pam, I don't know how to do this, but I see that you do. Can you, one, teach me a few pointers, give me a few pointers so that I can become better for myself? And two, while I'm yet working on this, let me hand you this responsibility, and then follow that up with the proper accolades and acknowledgement that Pam needs so that she can continue to grow and excel personally and professionally, because you've acknowledged that, you've empowered her to help you in the area where you're weak, and you've also empowered her and given her that freedom, if you will, to grow even more as an orator in your organization. So that's a win-win. You know, if I were Pam, I would be like, okay, bet.
Most people would, right? Most people would. They're like, oh, okay, yeah. I'm good with that.
I'm good.
And then, as a leader, look forward from that situation and say, where can I use Pam to get a step up?
Yes.
Yes. I heard in the leader meeting that they were talking about a video newsletter. Well, I'm gonna get Pam up in there.
Come on now.
You know, and all of a sudden she's the face of the company. You know, that's what leaders do. That's what they should do.
That's absolutely what they should do. We talked also last time about some things that hinder leaders, or maybe one particular thing it was that hinder leaders in this area from being that truthful, that vulnerable, that transparent, if you will, to where they're actively involved in the development of their people. And you spoke to fear. As leaders, why is it so important for us to identify those fears, and not just identify our fears, but take the necessary actions to deal with them, so that they don't have negative impact on us and those that we've been given charge over as leaders? You know,
I love to break words down, right? So courage, it starts with COR, which is heart, right? It's heart. Most leaders that are in positions today don't have the heart for leadership. And so there's no courage. And you got to be courageous as a leader.
Yes, you do.
Because there's going to be some fights that come your way that's personal. Yeah. But if you have a team of 10, guess what? You're going to get 10 fights, right? That things that are coming at you at any given point, because within your team, there's other teams, and there's other teams, and there's other teams. Fear is there because there's no courage. Usually folks will hide behind their inadequacies or hide their inadequacies. the system it has a part of it that encourages, and we've mentioned that by monetary gain or by just popularity to hide those things. And so nobody's being courageous. And if you can't be courageous for yourself, Pam ain't where she knows you ain't gonna do it for her.
Right.
Yeah, John is like, no, he's not gonna put his neck out. Right. I've heard it so many years that no, that person ain't gonna do that. Wait, why? Why wouldn't they? They ain't gonna put their neck out like that. When they're a leader, they should be putting all their body out. Like, no, this is my folk.
Yeah.
I'm gonna make sure that they grow and they are prosperous. And if it has to be by way of me, so be it. But that's why I'm the leader. And so that fear has different elements to it when it comes to leadership. But most of it is that there's no heart behind it. Their role is their role.
Now, when you say heart, I want you to break that down for us, because I don't want anybody to leave with a misunderstanding or misinterpretation, because when we talk about a person having heart, it's easier for us to make that shift in that reference when we're talking about an athlete having heart. But even then, we could talk about some professional athletes that have an amazing skill set, but they have no heart. But that's a conversation for another day. Break that down for us, because the goal is with the broadcast, when people are looking at the live and get the replay, they'll be able to chew this and really have tangible, easily implementable tools. And having a heart is necessary.
Yeah, and especially it's everywhere. You need the heart. If you want to do something and do it well, you got to put your heart in it, right? Yes. I was going through a slide deck for a company that was part-time but looking for angel investors, right? And the thing that you have to understand with angel investors is they are not going to throw money at you if you're part-timer. They actually want like 110%, not 100. They want, you are crazy about this thing to the point that you are crazy sleep
over it,
right? You are crazy. That's the type of people they want to invest in and throw money at. So when you talk about that type of determination, that type of commitment, the same is required for leadership. But you'd be hard pressed to find somebody like that. Because there's just so many competing things, right? And leadership has become just what I do. I do that, and I do it from 9 to 5. After that, I don't want to hear nothing about it. It is a job. It is not a lifestyle. And
that's powerful.
Leadership has become a job and not a lifestyle. Now, it was designed to be a lifestyle.
Yes.
Which means, when you're driving down the street and you're driving behind Enrique's car, you're going to see him stop at stop signs. You're going to see him stop at the red light before he goes right on red. You're going to see things that are common day occurrences in Enrique's life that are matching what he says he can do as a leader. Because your life is the example of leadership.
Yes.
And so when I'm talking about heart, that is just the place it starts at. It has to permeate throughout the body and actually become action. And what you don't have in your heart, you can't act.
You can't act that out.
Yeah. Even if you tried, you're like, oh man, you ain't up for this role. I can't go and try to be Denzel, because only Denzel knows how to play that role.
Come on
now I can try to imitate it, but it won't be Denzel quality. All right. And so leaders have to, or those people that are wanting to be in leadership position, have to understand that it is a lifestyle, not a job, not an employment, not something that you just, pick up from 9 to 5. I should be able to see leadership all day long from you.
leadership being a lifestyle. And I love the examples that you gave. Everything that we do in our life should reflect the true nature of who we are.
Mm-hmm.
And the true nature of who you are, I am a leader. You're going to find me being a leader, whether I'm on the job, in my home, participating in my favorite hobby, a community activity, or whatever it is, because it is who I am. It's not a hat that I put on and take off. Yeah. It's literally who I am. And viewers may be saying, well, LaQuita and Enrique, that sounds like y'all ain't giving me no self-care time. That means your mindset hadn't shifted yet, because that's not what we're saying. We're not saying you're working constantly 24/7, or you're having to be someone, you're having to play this role 24/7.
Yeah.
No, he's clearly saying great leaders are great leaders always. And they take care of themselves. That's at the, that self-care piece is necessary, because as a great leader, I recognize that my team needs to practice great self-care, and I'm going to demonstrate that by practicing great self-care myself.
And even in self-care, so you mentioned something. So leadership is not a job. No. It is not hard to be. If you are a true leader, it is not a job to be a leader.
Right.
No. Right. What I'm saying is that all my decisions favor me in the positive way that does not step on somebody's back.
Say that again.
Right? All my decisions favor me in a positive way, but do not step on somebody's back. It is not a selfish act. Actually, when I am being a leader, a leader, I do it all the time. And it doesn't require me to take a vacation. It doesn't. Because this is who I am.
Yes.
This morning I was driving. Today I was driving, and I always try to keep this in mind. If you're going to say you're a leader, you better be it.
Yes.
You better be it. Don't let nobody ever be able to say, oh, but I saw you. Are we perfect? No. Right? So I'm coming through, through a school zone, and I see that I was like 1, 2, 3 over before I got to it. I got in line, right? But I realized that. I said, hold on now. You better put that in check, buddy, and put that behind you, because this ain't gonna happen. And so I'm leading myself.
Yes. Self-leadership. Number one.
Yeah, you lead yourself, but it and does it take an amount of effort? Yes, it does. Why? Because I was raised in the Bronx. Ain't nobody stopped. So I mean, I got a lot of years that I need to work out. But guess what? Oh, we're gonna work it out.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're gonna make a gym out of this.
That self-leadership has to be first and foremost in our life. If we can't lead ourselves effectively, impactfully, how in the world are we going to lead others? Leadership being a lifestyle, that means I'm not faking this until I make it. I hate that statement. I really don't like that statement, because you can't fake something that you are not. You'll never make it. Your gifts and your talents might get you in the room you desire to be, but the very thing that Enrique is saying here, your leadership capability, your character will definitely either cause you to tear that room up, that table up, or be uninvited. Because you cannot fake it until you make it.
Your ability may get you there. Your capability may take you out.
Come on now. Oh, say that again. Listen, I owe you all. What is your Cash App, sir? Like, I owe you all the offerings. That is so powerful. We've spent it's like with marriage. We spend so much time focusing on the wedding, but we don't focus on becoming the husband and the man and the wife or the woman that's needed in order to make the marriage work. We spend so much time focusing on the skill sets necessary to get the positions that we don't focus on the necessary things that it's going to take in order to maintain the position and grow in the position. We have to work on the inside so that it can show up on the outside. Listen, this hour has gone by so fast. I have more things I want to say, but I'm going to put a pin in it so we don't run completely over, because I definitely need you to let the people know how they can reach you, how they can hear more of your leadership tips, tools, and strategies, and how can they connect with you?
Yes, thank you for that. LinkedIn is the best way. That's where I reside. I do have a Facebook and Instagram presence, Triad Leadership Solutions. You could look at that. But website is triadleadershipsolutions.com. You could look there and book a time with me. But I put a lot of content out on LinkedIn. I have a live, I have an audio show. It's just and Adina's like part 3. we make there's just so much to share, but love to hear from you. Connect with me on LinkedIn. I usually I will sift through the connection requests, so don't but if you connect with me and you're right, I'll accept it. Plenty of places to find me.
Yeah, awesome. Listen, guys, I have dropped those links. I've dropped Enrique's LinkedIn into the comments. I've also dropped the link to his podcast in the comments, and to his website in the comments. So if you weren't able to write all of that down, don't worry. Get in the comment section here, and you can go ahead and just click that link and follow, and share him on all of the relevant platforms. And again, thanks so much to everyone that has joined us across the various social media communities on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch. We appreciate you. Hit those like, share, and subscribe buttons. Let's get this broadcast out to as many people as possible today. If you're watching the hashtag replay, thank you for watching that, and please do the same. Get in the comment section and let me know what you think. I want to know what I can do to improve and what type of guests that you'd like to see on the LaQuita's Toolbox Live, so that we can make sure we're bringing you tools and strategies that help you grow both personally and professionally. Enrique, thank you so much, brother. We're going to have to organize a part 3. We're going to have to organize a part 3. But before we go today, is there anything else that you'd like to share with the audience?
Yeah, just be, right? Mm-hmm. Just be. Whatever it is that you've determined to do, just be it, and hone your skill. That's your responsibility. We will only see what you determined to be.
That's a powerful truth. Just be. Guys, thank you so much. If you have not checked out my new book, Redefining Success, 8 Tools That I've Used to Develop a Growth Mindset, please check that out. You'll find the link to that to be able to purchase that here in the comment section. It's available on Amazon. If you'd like an autographed copy of my book, my website is also in the comments. Go out to my website, go to the shopping cart, put about 4 or 5 of them books in your shopping cart. No, I'm just kidding. It's Christmas time, though. Black Friday deals are coming. And I will be more than happy to autograph each and every one and get them sent out to yourself and your loved ones. Guys, thank you. Have a great rest of your day. Take care and be blessed. All right, everybody.